This is the Elgato 4KX capture card. We're diving in and talking about this incredible capture solution or pass-through solution that has been available to me for quite a few months from Elgato. It's actually amazing and the best capture card I've ever used. It's great for my work now, and it'll be great for my work in the future. So let's dive in and talk about what this tiny, compact capture card device has to offer. I would have dreamed of having something like this when I was younger because it would have been perfect for taking out on the go. It's a USB 3.2 Type-C connection on the back, your HDMI in and out, and it's just something you can really set up easily within your workspace and environment, or, like I said, take out anywhere you'd like because it is absolutely tiny and it's awesome. So what are we getting here? Support up to 4K at 144 FPS, so 144 hertz support. You can of course capture lower, you can go all the way down to your 30 FPS games, your 40 or 60 or 120, which is usually what I do when I am, well, basically playing on console. You know, we have 4K 120 as kind of the max for consoles at the current point in time, and it allows me to easily capture that, which is awesome. Now, YouTube doesn't support that at the current point in time, which is a bit of a shame, but I'm ready for the future when it does, which is kind of awesome. So I can kind of prep, and most of the footage you'll see today was actually gameplay where I was playing at 120 FPS using this incredibly small and awesome capture card. So there's also HDR to SDR tone mapping. We've got custom, I guess you would say, software in regards to capture, or you can use OBS. And there's a lot of other features and things that we're going to be going over today. And you can actually check out some affiliate links in the video description and as a pinned comment if you want to support the content and grab this for yourself. It's more of an enthusiast model, but it does have all kinds of ranges. Like I said, 4K 144 FPS. You can also do 1440p at 144 FPS, or you can go lower to 1080p and capture at 240 FPS if you're feeling a little spicy. But let's dive in and take a look at some of the footage and talk more about the device and what it has to offer. So yeah, this is some gameplay footage, all captured on the Xbox Series X, showcasing various games, some that are running at 120 Hz, 120 FPS, and some that are running in variable different frame rate levels, just to show off a wide range of different games and what this can actually offer for your gameplay experience. Keeping in mind, YouTube doesn't support under 20 FPS at this current point in time, like I've mentioned, and that's just kind of what we have to deal with. But I am future-proofed and ready to go. So I've been looking for a new capture card for quite a while, especially if you follow the channel, you definitely know that that has been the case. I've been having to basically limit myself this generation. You know, I have the TV that allows me to have the high frame rates. I got the high-end consoles, the PS5, the Xbox Series X. They can do 120 FPS, but I kept having to switch my signals in order to actually do streaming and or recording in certain situations. And that was really, really annoying, as I wasn't getting the full experience that I could have possibly gotten. And now I can finally actually enjoy that with the 120 Hz ability to pass through and or also record, right? Which is fantastic. So I'm able to easily enjoy Call of Duty at 120 FPS, Halo, things like Rainbow Six Siege, XDefiant, all kinds of stuff. And I don't have to adjust any settings, and I can just enjoy the full scope of what this has to offer, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got ultra low latency VRR pass-through, so that's variable refresh rate, so you can enjoy your fancy game modes and everything like that. And hey, it actually runs and works pretty well. Now, this does come with one HDMI 2.1 cord. It is actually generously lengthy, but it will be up to you to have another cord. I'm assuming their assumption is that you will have your console plugging into this sort of thing, but some of us may need to get additional cords, and that's totally fine, as I'm sure there are some options, just not super lengthy options that I've noticed out there at this current point in time. But yeah, no, it all runs perfectly smooth, and I really don't have any problems. I have been absolutely pushing this card to the limit, and I haven't come across any problems. It just works, which is awesome. It's similar to my experience prior in the sense that I just literally plugged it in, adjusted some settings, and I was good to go. It was actually the easiest transition between capture cards I've ever had, and the Elgato setup is just absolutely phenomenal. I use OBS to do my recording and capturing and streaming and everything like that, but they do have their own Elgato capture system and setup, so you can go and use that if you would like. It's pretty solid. I haven't downloaded because, you know, different things require different setups for recording and whatnot, so it's always good to be prepared to have that available. Now, I will mention, like I said, it does do the 4K 144 FPS capture. Now, if you do capture with HDR, it is limited to 4K 30 FPS, which isn't ideal, but HDR capture and usage is relatively tricky at the current point in time, so I don't think you're necessarily missing out on much there, but it is a limitation that I thought I would mention. But yeah, like I said, you can also do 1440p, you can drop it down to 1080 and go all the way up to 240 FPS. It just works really, really well. And the cord it comes with, the USB-C, it's a 10 gigabit cord, HDMI 2.1 support through your 2 other ports. But yeah, it's just really easy to plug in and really easy to enjoy and use. I've used it across a wide range of devices. I've recorded and streamed with the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series S, the Nintendo Switch, and even the iPhone 13 Pro I've plugged into this thing. And it works. It just works. Which is kind of awesome. Oh, even, you know what? I've even used it for recording Xbox 360 gameplay, and yeah, it's just kind of genuinely easy going. I have absolutely no problems at all. You just plug in your stuff and it's easy. I was kind of worried that there'd be more of an intensive setup going on for this one in terms of like getting everything going and whatnot, but no, it's been absolutely wonderful. I've had, like I said, literally no problems. So if you're transitioning from another capture card device, it's really going to be as easy as just plugging in the wires, assuming you are kind of, I'm imagining, if you're grabbing this unit, a bit more of an enthusiast recorder. This is definitely more of a high-end offering. And I love how tiny it is. Like, it's just a little box, doesn't make any noise, it just sits there easily. I can put it in any configuration I want because it's just something that you can move around easily, and your limitations come down to the cord lengths you have available for HDMI. That's really it. I was very easily able to set up, like, not even to have to change anything in my room, to just be able to plug it in and use it, which is awesome. Now, obviously, this isn't an internal card, which is actually what I'm coming off of. Over the years, I've used several different capture cards as the technology has evolved and changed. You know, I went from basically a capture card like this where it was external and a lot larger, quite a bit larger. Then they got smaller, and then I had an internal card. And then, yeah, I was always looking for something that would allow me to have, like, my high frame rates, have my VRR, have the stuff I want to use, and be able to easily just plug it in. And that's basically what we've gotten with this card. I don't really see any downsides. It's literally the perfect capture card for modern gaming. I really don't know. Like, it's just ready to go, because I'm assuming at some point YouTube's going to offer that higher frame rate kind of showcase, and it's going to be pretty incredible to actually do that sort of thing. Now, keep in mind, 144, 120, HDMI 2.1, you got to know the limits, you got to know the setup limits and everything like that. But I mean, it really is just plug and play. And it's just offering unlimited, easygoing, beautiful capture. And it allows you to have this footage in very pristine, high bitrate formats. It looks incredible. It showcases the games the best they can be showcased. It takes a true native picture quality from the experience. My footage, honestly, has never looked better and has never actually been able to so truly capture the actual output of these consoles. It's kind of amazing. And I mean, you can use it for like recording like a PC and stuff like that, but again, I'm kind of telling it and going from my perspective where I use the different consoles and I record off of them, and that's kind of the stuff I do in regards to like being able to showcase gameplay and give you an idea of things. It's also really cool to have HDR as an option here, HDR 10, but as I said, HDR is like still a bit of a pain to kind of edit and use and stuff like that, so I tend to stray away from it, but it's nice to know that the support is there if I should want to actually capture and be able to present that sort of thing, especially with the HDR to SDR tone mapping. It's really, really quite nice. You can also have a 3.5mm stereo line in, so you can actually plug in something for audio recording if you'd like to do so. I also want to mention that the audio quality of the actual stuff for all the footage is really crisp, sharp, and excellent. It sounds phenomenal. It's got high quality like bandwidth to it. Everything just sounds really, really good and looks really, really good. I'm honestly probably beyond the limitations of even what things such as like YouTube would be even able to provide those that are watching my content. Honestly, I can get to such high levels of visual fidelity and showcasing where it's like really going to be down to the output that YouTube does when they, because there's all this compression and everything like that happens. But I can provide really, really high quality video output and everything like that, which I think is absolutely excellent. I also do all my video editing with PowerDirector 365, in case you were wondering there. In case you want to know the kind of tools, as that's a nice budget offering in regards to great value for being able to edit and have software that's like constantly updated. So that's kind of what I'm pairing these with. But of course, there's all kinds of different video editing software options out there that can do even crazier things. But that's just currently what I'm using at the current point in time, as I thought that would kind of give further context in regards to the whole editing process and everything like that. And of course, as technology changes and as extra inputs and outputs and everything are down and available and different things for me to record eventually, I will have to maybe switch up software for different needs, but for now it works perfectly well. And this capture card really is something that I see in the long term being something that's very viable to me, unless we have some kind of massive improvement or change up in regards to like, the output of stuff of consoles and the output of what I'm capturing, which I highly doubt. This is just absolutely spectacular, and it's nice to see that Elgato is absolutely leading the charge in this regard. I wasn't sure how it was going to be switching from another capture card company, so it definitely is a bit of a change up for me, but like I said, there was no problem at all. It was just like literally the most seamless experience I've ever had. I really didn't have to do any sort of setup at all. Like, I just literally plugged it in and I was like, wow, I'm just good to go. Which, if you've had to deal with capture cards, because I've been doing the recording stuff for a long time on YouTube, more seriously in the last 5 or so years, but I come from like capture card days of like 720p 30 FPS, and like it barely looked that good, and just the change up in capture card technology is fascinating, but it's always lagging too, right? Like, we've had these consoles out for almost 4 years or something now, and like we're just finally getting this sort of capture card support, because like I said, I had to sit there and just stomach like streaming and being locked to 60 FPS. And it's a big disappointment when I've got things like Halo and stuff where I can do the higher frame rates, or I'd have to always sit there and like switch inputs after a stream or recording session was done, and it was a pain. And now I can just play. There's no limitations or anything like that. I can just play my games, record it whenever I need to make a clip, whenever I want to make a clip. I just literally can sit there, nothing. Yeah, just turn on my capture software and I'm good to go, because it's always just running, and yeah, this thing is just basically flawless. Seriously, like, it just runs all the time, barely gets warm, makes no sound, it just sits there nicely, and it just perfectly functions for every sort of usage I need. It is amazing. Now, make sure you are having these specific port options so that you can actually plug everything in correctly. And, in regards to your PC availability for your USB 3.2 Gen ports, make sure that you have a equivalent sort of software or hardware. Like, I've got the RTX 4090 with the i9 13900K, so like there's no issues for me recording, but if you are grabbing this, make sure that you do have actual hardware to be able to support the software. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. When it comes to the actual device itself, it's like 91 grams. It's a tiny little thing. It's very cute. It's got your little cord and your little cord options for either HDMI or the other one. Again, it's only one cord, which it would have been nice to have two, but these are kind of still expensive cords, so I get, like, it makes sense to me perfectly why we have that particular thing available in this regard. But it really is hard to actually come up with like any sort of issues. I'm always looking for, when I'm doing like product reviews and stuff like that, I'm always looking for some sort of like thing that is a setback or something that's a problem. But there really isn't. I guess I had one time where there was a Windows update thing and it like reset the audio levels for the capture card to be really high, and then I just kind of lowered them and everything was good again. So it just kind of like Windows itself maxed out the card's like audio line, which was annoying. But yeah, other than that, everything is nice and crisp and loud and clear, for audio, for gameplay, for visuals. I really don't have any problems. There's not like any sort of real delays that I'm kind of noticing when I'm playing games. There's not really any sort of problems in regards to getting the signals to capture and stuff like that. You may, depending on the cards, or not the cards, the cords you use, you may have some issues with VRR doing some flickering, but you can always turn off VRR if that is a problem that is causing for you, but that's usually a bandwidth of the cord issue, because that's something that might pop up. I'm just, again, trying to make sure that I absolutely have every detail in line for you, and so that you have the full thing. And I mean, you can also do like, you know, just straight pass-through on stuff, and it's just like, it's a very nice, well put together experience that I think really will just work for anything you need. I'm serious there. And I mean, obviously you're going to be able to do lots of different like adjustments depending on your like hardware and stuff like that for what kind of encoders you use, but NVIDIA wise and everything like that, it's just flawless high quality experiences that I can provide to my audience, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I was just completely blown away by this. I genuinely wish I had more complaints to go over, if that makes sense. Like, I really do wish I had something, but there's no compromises, there's no holding back, there's no problems with like the coloring, how lighting's handled, anything like that. It's just literally the perfect capture card device, like absolutely peak and perfect for this era, and it should be something that is perfect for many years down the road. Like I said, I can't foresee anything in the near future that would make this not become like the top of the line sort of offering it is, unless we have some kind of big breakthrough for like 8K technology. But you know, that's something that will probably cross when that hurdle comes, and then they'll just do it like a new card to kind of match that. But yeah, it's incredible how fast this was to set up. They knocked this out of the park. They've definitely converted me to loving the Elgato line of capture cards, because this is my first run with Elgato for capturing. I've tried a few different companies over the years in regards to capture and everything like that. So it is kind of amazing to have something that I think is the peak of the technology at this current point in time. I look forward to someday being, you know, this thing being passed by something else, because I think that would be a lot of fun to see the technology getting pushed even further and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess this is kind of just literally amazing. I think they nailed every single part of this. I guess at worst, maybe some people have like a little bit of a latency thing that they might be like, oh, it's too much latency or something like that. But for me, this just really gets the job done. It allows me to be competitive in the games, allows me to stream and record my games perfectly well. I've been streaming like days worth of time since I got this, recording days worth of time since I got it. As you know, I'm constantly doing videos and streams and showcasing things, and it just perfectly works for every regard and everything I need it to. So this is absolutely fantastic. And I know it may sound like I've been going in circles, but I'm really trying to hit all the little points that I can on this and just keep coming back to that idea that I literally do not have, or I can't find issues or problems with this. They nailed it. And I hope this footage is showcasing just some of the capture that this thing can do, and giving you an idea of the quality that you'll be able to experience, even through the, I guess you would say, I don't know, like lowering of the quality and everything like that for YouTube's perspective. But yeah, this is buttery smooth, great, perfect gameplay and experiences. I'd give this a 10 out of 10. Absolute perfection in regards to hardware. I mean, there's one or two things some people might have problems with. This hit every single element that I needed it to, It works perfectly, it's reliable, which is something I crave when it comes to devices. Reliability is so important to me, and I think they absolutely nailed that with this capture card. So again, liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well, and I hope you enjoyed this look.